Okay. Comment two. I'll make it clear. I'm not bashing on this guy. I'm not anything. And I said this in the comments, but I'm also going to say it here. Your 2 cents on this also. I get this more and more. You know, pro Linux people who agree with us are like, yes, more people should be on Linux. Linux should be good. Yeah. And then they end their statement, or begin their statement with, oh, and by the way, it's virus free. And I'm like, it's inherently more secure. It's not immune. There are I'm glad the guy likes Linux. I'm glad he's happy with it. You know, as he's pointing out, it suits his. I forget if it was his mom or his dad. That's. It's actually both. It does. It more than suits the needs of the average end user right now. If you're doing some specialized tasks, you're gonna gravitate towards Windows, Linux, or Mac, depending on the specialized task.
The fact is that for now, for all intents and purposes, Linux is virus-free. No, it's not immune, and yes, people can make viruses for it, but there's so few out there, and part of that is certainly because of market share. As much as people would like to say that it's all because of how hard it is to make a virus for Linux, no, there's a huge part of it is because of market share.
Most of the targeted exploits for Linux right now are not concerns of the average end user. They're concerns of people who administer web servers or servers in general, because a lot of the exploits for Linux are like Apache exploits or other things. There's things you would only be running on a server that's online. And this is where the energy has been focused for exploiting Linux, because this is where it makes sense to exploit Linux as things stand now. But Linux is as much as people want to ignore it, Linux is approaching that tipping point that Mac passed a few years ago, where in some cases it does make sense to target Linux for malware attacks on and other stuff. And one thing we've seen over the past 2 to 3 years is that because of all that marketing about immune, Windows users are real skeptical when something comes up and goes, oh, by the way, would you like to let me do this to your system? They're like, I don't trust you. You're trying to abuse me. It's like the average Windows end user, because of utter fear, is afraid to click yes, even when it's genuine. On the Mac side, it's 180 the other way. Grandma will click yes. Most people will click yes because they're under the delusion that they're immune. This is something Linux can very much do without. We need to still execute basic common sense and not operate under the guise that we're immune. We are subject to being targeted at some point. Phishing and other things will occur against us, and so forth.
The thing is that yes, if people continue to think that like that and Linux does get popular, that's going to bite them. However, if I were to say right now, Linux is immune to viruses, and I took a study of however many people and let them be as reckless as they want without actually looking for a virus, chances are none of them would get viruses.
I would disagree with that only because of the following. There are a number of people, as the shape of the ecosystem is right now, that install either crossover or wine because of a necessity. In which case, then they are susceptible to having their wine or crossover bottle infected. Now, it's a matter of deleting that bottle and then reinstalling the stuff, but they can still get the, exploits and malware and other stuff that would run in that environment.
While this is true, I'm talking about basically removing wine from the equation, because yes, you can get Windows viruses with wine. Of course, you have to explicitly run them with wine, so it's a lot harder. But yeah.
Yep. I didn't say it was as easy. Like I said,
Linux applications
inherently more secure. But yeah.
It would, for all intents and purposes, be immune.
Okay. Yeah, but it's like we shouldn't operate. It's you want to say take the mentality of stance, less virus hassle. You know, less likely. Let's not. Don't say free. Don't say immune, because it's.
I always liked the term just having a lot less. The chance of getting a virus is very low. Yes, everything can get a virus. It doesn't matter as long as the thing is able to be programmed for and can connect to the internet and is a computer. It can get a virus.
Well, no, and the qualifier that's always put out there is, well, there's no Linux viruses in the wild. And I'm like, and that's always the qualifier that's put on there. I'm like, I've never liked that phrasing, because people will equate that with no Linux viruses. There are some good, really sick Linux viruses out there. I've seen them. They can do. So, yeah, but they're not in the wild like Windows viruses are and other stuff. Mac's only recently begun to have in the wild attacks. Until I about want to say 14 months ago, Mac attacks were theoretical, but now they're in the wild, which is an entirely different can of worms. And they're going to be in the wild someday for Linux. It's just going to happen.
Let's hope, because that'll mean that Linux is important enough to get attacked.
Well, it's like, given the bullshit I deal with server side on the side, I know it. I know if these people directed their attention towards the desktop, who direct it right now towards servers, there are things that could be done. Now, because of the multi-user nature, most of the attacks would require the end user to do something stupid. But that being said, if you're operating from the wrong mindset, you throw common sense out the window. You know, it's.
And there is, the exploit that, Ubuntu had an exploit that allowed people to gain root privilege, blah 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 blah.
Gain root, yeah. And actually, that was reverse engineered to actually attack some servers at some point. Now, the whole idea of that was that root was a dirty word in Ubuntu, and still kind of is. So you had to hack that in, but yeah. It's like it was meant for good, but it was also used for bad. So, yeah. I don't know on that. Is there anything else?
Yeah, we'll see. A big problem, I think, is that maybe the companies who make Linux distros, well, not Red Hat, but Ubuntu specifically, may not be focused on security, because right now they can just be under the cover that nobody is attacking them right now.
See, for the most part. That is creating a problem. If you take that stance in your development, you are creating millions of users who are running around without any shielding, without any protection, any SOT, and the day somebody decides to take advantage of them, they're boned. That's effectively the end result. It's like, oh, well, now that they've been boned, we realize it's a problem. Let's not repeat the mistakes of Windows and to a point OS 10. Let's not wait till we're attacked. If you wait till you're attacked, it's too late. You've been attacked. So all you can do is deal with the damage at that point. Like, let's be proactive. Oh well. Alright, anything else we really want to go into, or does this sound like a good spot actually to wrap this up? Be a little short, but
I've got a few things I gotta fix, so this would be a good spot for me, yeah.
Okay. I have one thing I want to run by you before you go, but we're going to go ahead and stop the recording here, and peace out, everyone.